Alright, what is up you guys? It is Cameron, and welcome to Her Lie I Tried to Believe. So... oh no. Don't tell me this is gonna be scary. Alright, so I don't know anything about this game. I think it's a visual novel. I don't even know that. I'm pretty sure it's a visual novel. It's called Her Lie I Tried to Believe. We have an anime girl here, and we have the buttons and kind of creepy sounding music, so I'm a little worried about that. I don't know if it's horror, I don't know if it's just a visual novel, it's normal, I don't know. For all I know, I could have another Doki Doki on my hands right now. So, we're just gonna have to go. The music's picking up, let's just go. I wonder why I didn't notice at the time the meaning behind all of this. Now that I understand it, I can declare with certainty that my life would have been completely different if I had seen through it sooner. Was I too insensitive, or maybe I simply wished I didn't really understand? No matter. Maybe you will see the truth where I couldn't. Okay? It's a lot of white. Oh, we're gonna shoot some hoops. Nice. Oh, it all started in elementary school. Not middle school, nor high school, but elementary school. Just to tell how long she's been tormenting me. Yes, a girl. It is always about a girl, isn't it? Couldn't have been a rivalry between boys. No, it needed to be a girl. There's no There's no predetermined time to mark when exactly this happened. It just kind of turned out this way, I guess. The moment I laid eyes on her, I knew I would hate her. What's there to hate? What? She was tall? Well, not tall, but still taller than me back then. You know how it goes. Her hair was not very long. Boyish would probably be a good way to define it. But again, this wasn't such a surprise during that time. Her strength must have been similar to mine even. Her features resembled most of the girls. She wasn't special, that's for sure. She had brown eyes, black hair, a cute little girl. And it stopped at that. Just that. Yet there was one thing. Only one simple thing that separated her from the rest of those pure girls. Her eyes. Okay. I see what they're trying to do there, but it didn't get me. My mind is trained now. You can't get me. There was something, and I'm not talking about twinkles or anything of the sort. I'm talking about something darker. Something that doesn't belong to a kid, but she hid it. Or at least tried to. And it worked with most people, but not with me. I wonder... okay, that kind of scared me. The neighbor's upstairs. But not with me. I wonder if she saw the same thing in my eyes. Maybe that's why I felt... what? Wait, where did... oh, I scrolled. Okay, I see. I wonder if maybe that's why I felt so much contempt for her. Maybe that's why she answered with contempt with some unknown feelings of her own. I don't know how it happened, but... that was weird. I don't know how it happened. Did she provoke me first, or was I the one pushing this conception as the sole intent of our relationship? The fact that we were rivals. I think it started because she was beating me at running. She was beating me at pretty much everything, really. But I think running was something more perceivable, and that's why I felt it weighing so much more on my mind. To be beaten by a girl. And it wasn't that she had a talent for running or whatever. It was simply that I was mediocre. And it would have probably been alright with me if it weren't for that smile. That smile always teasing me so brightly so. And it wasn't that compelling either. I mean, more often than not, she would be missing some teeth due to growth, so... but again, I don't fully remember why she started doing this. But every time she finished before me in a race during PE, she'd always look at me with that smile and say, "Better luck next time, Tim." For me, it was the greatest insult. For a boy who tries to distinguish himself from the others in an environment such as elementary school to be beaten and laughed at by a girl. There's no way I could take it personally, so I made it kind of my life mission to beat her at every opportunity I get. But sadly for me, I was just an average guy, and while she was too an average girl, she was still slightly better than I was. I think for her, it was simply a game, something to put a smile on her face or to feel proud about. Seeing me fail and looking so irritated by that fact, she might have thought I was also amusing myself somehow. I mean, I don't see much of the problem. It was only when winter came that she understood the depth of my feelings. I mean, let her be good at something. It's nothing crazy bad. You just are friends. That's all it is. We were playing King of the Hill on a snow mountain with a couple kids. I said we, but we weren't friends or even really acquainted with one another. We knew each other's names, and that was that. Maybe it made even more of an impact because of this. Because no one was really playing aggressively. We were just kind of pushing each other out from the top of the mountain to claim it our own. But when I saw her, that girl, climb to the top of the mountain and try to take even this fleeting achievement from me, I just kind of snapped. I remember thinking, this is mine, you won't take it away from me. And she didn't. She didn't because I grabbed her with all my strength and threw her to the bottom of the mountain directly on hard ground. That's terrible! It must have hurt. It must have hurt really bad, but my thoughts weren't there. I was completely euphoric with the idea that I protected what was mine, that I was finally beating her at something. I guess our strengths were really no match at all. Or after all. The kids were all regrouping themselves around her for some reason. I finally understood that I did something that I shouldn't have done. Their glares on me told me so. Yet, I didn't feel bad. I mean, this girl had been tormenting me way more than this. But they didn't know how... How could they know? I mean, not really. All she ever did was beat you at running and say, like, better luck next time or whatever. You literally threw her off a snow mountain. That's different. When you physically hurt someone, it's different than winning a race against them. That's my input. Finally, the girl, Cassandra, got up painfully from the ground. She didn't cry. She didn't try to stir up compassion for those around her. No, she simply looked at me. Yeah, 'cause you're a jerk, dude. Looked at me with those eyes. That's when I knew she finally understood how I feel. That's when I knew she finally started hating me. I mean, I don't see anything wrong here yet. She became serious. That rivalry I thought we had was nothing more than normality for her. Normality? Normality? For her. So, by seriously trying to beat me at everything, she became one of the best students in our class. I could say some stupid garbage like I wanted her to become this way because I knew she was faking to be someone else, but that's clearly not the case. The only reasons I ever had in wanting to crush her were simply juvenile and immature ones at best. I don't think she was fake before by any stretch of the imagination. I just think she had that much potential. Sure, I also became better because of that fact, but she always had the last word in the end. And her smile changed too. There was no longer this faint warmth emanating from it. It was cold, like this thing I thought I had once seen in her eyes. She finally looked at me the way I always looked at her. I guess I opened her eyes, and then she saw me for whom I truly was. I didn't feel bad about it. At least, I thought I didn't. If I had any emotion back then, it was probably numbed by this excruciating feeling of being humiliated. Also, she stopped saying her usual line when beating me. She continued saying something alright, but it was no longer that line. Instead, she just said something like, "Are you even trying?" And she would say it as often as she could. It was no longer simply when we were running against each other, but also during our academic reports and even during luck-influenced games. My elementary school life ended with an extremely bitter aftertaste. I became the laughingstock of my class, and I somehow helped Cassandra become even better than she already was. A complete defeat indeed. But there would be no other chances for me to prove my worth. I knew there would. A chance to crush her, that is. I don't get why you have to be so much better than her. Just let her be happy. Middle school brought some changes with it. Well, not right away, but in the second part of the first year for sure. I became taller, or maybe she became smaller, I don't know. Since she was since she was the sole thing I ever set my eyes on, she became my reference when it comes to any kind of physical changes. I could hardly believe it, yet it was something anyone could have predicted, me becoming taller than her. For some unknown reason, we still ended up in the same class. We had somehow chosen the same options, disgustingly enough. Our hatred towards each other was still very real, so it was like we only picked up things from where we left off during elementary school. Her hair was no longer. She started little by little to take up shapes which made her body no longer be regarded to one as one of a kid anymore. Even I could see how beautiful she was becoming, yet I was still repulsed by her. Likewise, I changed in a drastic fashion. I became taller, and I gained some mass along the way. Again, I was very much an average guy, but I still tried the best I could to keep my body in shape in order to eventually win against her. And that paid off. Or maybe it was just the direct result of those apparent changes, but in any case, I finally started to have the upper hand on her. At least during PE and other physical competitions, I was no longer chasing her, she was now chasing me. Can you at least show a bit of determination? That was my line. What a joke, really. Couldn't even think of anything clever to say, so I just stole her line and made it my own. And I wouldn't stop at that. I wanted my back to be as far in front of her as I possibly could. So I decided to start playing basketball to build up stamina and keep my body in shape. In no time, I became somewhat popular, and I don't think I was any good really. My whole team was just that bad, that's all. And anyway, popularity didn't interest me. My eyes were still locked on her all this time. Sure, I played the card of the cool kid, faking to enjoy everyone's eyes on me, but it was just another way to get back at her. Cassandra, just her name makes me shudder. I know people say Cassandra, but I say Cassandra, and I don't know why. I also say Anna instead of Anna. I'm weird. Just her name makes me shudder. She was popular in elementary school, but now she was kind of distant and solitary. Then look at me and acknowledge my existence. It was how I thought. But every time I looked at her, I'm terrible at reading. But every time I looked her way, she never looked at mine. I came to realize that she had lost all interest in our rivalry. It was only natural. I mean, she no longer had any chance when it comes to physical performances, so I decided it was time to change gears. If I wanted to take everything away from her, I would need to build up not only my body but my mind too. That girl is ignoring me like that. I'll show you just how much you made me suffer. Okay. This is a lot of reading. I think this is not much of a choices type game, but more just reading the story. It took me a long time to better my academic results, a long time indeed. It was all but natural to me, so in the end I had no other choice but to drop the basketball team in order to focus on my studies. Just do what you want, dude. You don't have to beat her everything. Just do what you want. She'll do what she wants. The 2 years of middle school ended, but she was still always one step in front of me. One day to the next, she would stop teasing me, or even look proud of what she's accomplished. The glimpse of darkness that I once saw in her eyes was now the only thing persisting to be seen throughout her features. High school finally came. Okay, we're gonna stop here. We're gonna stop at high school, and we'll resume this in another episode. It's a lot of reading. It definitely is a lot of reading. But I hope you guys are enjoying, and I hope you stay tuned to see what's coming up next. So with that, I hope you guys have a swell day.